All right. Hey guys, this is Andrew again over at Prehired, and we have another success story to share. And all of my stories are obviously awesome, but I think this one is a really inspiring and motivating story. And you'll hear about that in a little bit. But on the other side of the computer, I've got Eric, who's actually not in the United States right now. He's actually in Taiwan, and partly, why I think his story is so cool. So, Eric, thanks for taking some time. I guess it's evening your time, morning my time, to share your story.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for asking.
No worries, no worries. So let's kind of dive in. Um, what before you came across pre-hire, before you went through the program, before you got hired into your new job that you're about to start, and move back to the U.S. Just give a brief kind of overview of what were you doing before pre-hire, before you found us.
All right. So I was working in a engineering plastic company, and it's a product and solutions provider. And I was working in Taiwan and also in the U.S. And they were talking about transferring from Taiwan to the U.S. So I went through all the visa process and finally able to go to the U.S. to work. But in this process, okay, I can get on that detail later. But my day was about mostly in project management, and I did from internship. I did from internship to marketing specialist, and I was in sales operation and also account management. So I was pretty much wearing different hats and basically reporting to the CEO and the operation managers, just pretty much all the things, because it's not a startup, but
Mm-hmm.
work the way it's pretty much set up as a startup, which the process are not like structured. So
Yeah.
it's pretty much just the CEO says something and then you just carry it out. So I was
Yep.
wearing different hats, and even though I was under different functions, I was doing multiple different works as well.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. Okay. So you had a did a little marketing, some sales ops, account management, all these different things. Um, and I know before that you had some other experience in marketing and a little bit in software development. So what was, were you kind of, obviously you came to prayer because you wanted to do something else. What
Sure.
were maybe some of your biggest kind of career struggles with that job, or maybe with past jobs, that pushed you to, hey, I don't want to do these things anymore. I want to go do software sales. What were some of those things that that job maybe didn't fulfill you with, or didn't give you enough, or maybe it gave you too much of and you didn't like that?
Yeah. Um, so so a little bit about my background. My background is in IT. So I was studying information management, and I made a switch to marketing. So I was obviously I have a passion for technology, and I was doing a little bit of software programming before this. Um, the last company was pretty much in material science, chemistry, and engineering. So this is the position. Uh, it was my first full-time opportunity, and kind of like an opportunity to work overseas as well. So I wanted to just kind of immerse myself into the working environment and just absorb everything I can, just be a sponge. But the thing that kind of put me off is not specifically about the job itself, is say the politics that's in the working environment. It's a pretty toxic work environment, and there are a lot of politics going on, and generally the company is not doing well and was caught and in a bad situation.
Okay.
And I was in that situation, and I was thinking, hey, in the years that I've been with them, and I was still able to kind of use all the apps and all these SaaS tools. And my background, it's kind of like a little bit fit in my background. I always know that I wanted to pursue technology and software in this case. So I kind of reflect in myself and see this is also a good opportunity for me to go into software sales with my previous experience in sales operation, and that's relevant there. And a little bit of story is also because before I quit the job, the company switched an ERP provider, and the whole process took a little bit longer, probably for like a year or so. And in that sense, I was kind of getting a peek into the software sales life a little bit, and I think that's something that's really interesting, and I wanted to pursue a role in, and that's why it's pretty it's a coincidence that I ran into the pre-hire materials, and I got into it, and I did a little bit of research, and the timing just fits.
Got it. Okay. So to recap for everybody, so the work you didn't mind the work you were doing with your previous company. You kind of, you like the, the work part of it, but obviously the actual company and just, ultimately it sounded like it was kind of a mess and it was not a good spot. So you wanted to get out, and you always had an interest in tech, obviously. And then, really getting an inside look when that company started to, use software and implement it, that kind of just piqued your interest a little more. And you figured, hey, I've got a bit of an interest in, in sales and a bit of a background in sales ops. This is, maybe a direction I could look in. So before you came across us and you were thinking about a career change into more, mainly sales into tech, did you try on your own to get into the space, or you just started thinking about it and, hey, the powers to be kind of, pre-hired popped up in front of you, or you really, maybe you applied for some roles, you went on interviews, things like that?
Right. So I was applying similar, but I was applying to sales operations and also project management in that sense, but not specifically sales, because
Okay.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know this area very well, so I thought
Got
that
it.
was I thought that was a sales operation. Uh,
Okay. Okay.
and yeah, in that I only got, say, probably one interview. I was maybe applying for around 15 companies ish before I started the program, and I only
Okay.
got one. Yeah, and the
Okay.
timeline didn't fit, so that I didn't actually get that
Got
job.
it. Okay. So before pre-hired, you're looking at mainly sales ops roles, not true sales like an SDR role.
Mhm.
15 companies, one interview. I want to, everyone listening, I want to remember, we'll remember those numbers later when we talk about your results, that you only got one interview. So, all right. So pre-hired popped up, and then you did some probably research. I mean, and you can be
Yes.
honest, obviously, like, first coming across this, what did you think? Did you have any hesitations, any fears? And if so, what kind of pushed you over the edge? Like, all right, this seems legit. Like, let's give this a chance.
Right. So I saw the ad on Facebook. So immediately I hop on the official website.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say the official website looks look like a scam site. I don't know why. It's just the style,
Yeah.
the whole
Okay.
style, the interface. It looks like a scam site.
That's
But
fine.
I click through some of the interview examples of people that previously
Mm-hmm.
that did hop on, and those interviews. I listened to it, and I was searching online and see if other people had hopped on the program, And I didn't remember well, but all the research I did was positive.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is that is it's just the looks.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to sign up, and there's a problem because I wasn't. I'm not a citizen,
Mm-hmm.
so I did actually record myself reading an article, so I get so I get to sign up,
Yep.
and
Yep.
respond is positive, and I was connected to one of the staff in Prehired for the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he was kind of concerned with me, uh, because he doesn't he can't feel that like I have a drive to pursue this career, but I was able to convince him that uh, hey, I'm looking at this as a career change, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
dedicated to this path, and I can
Mm-hmm.
succeed in this role.
Yep.
So he's like, okay, let me give you a shot.
Yep.
And
You sold yourself. And to cut you off here, Eric, sorry about that. But just to point out to people listening, we are very, the way our model is, if we don't get paid until our members get paid, so obviously our success is relied on, your success. So what that basically means is we need people that are serious, that are committed, that are good fits. Most people that apply don't, we accept a very small percentage because we need, like Eric said, we need people that are motivated. We need people that are the right fit. Speaking of, you had to take a test. Obviously, communication is a key aspect of sales. And if you have someone that's, maybe English is not their first language, or just in general, they're not a good communicator, we can train on those things, but it's very tough to train on those things. And we feel, hey, might not be a good fit. Here's what you need to work on. Here's what you need to change. Come back in a couple months and we can have that conversation. But as Eric probably saw, we're not just accepting everybody. We really need to make sure people are a good fit. And obviously you did a good enough job, convincing, I think it was David, that, hey, I'm serious about this. I'm motivated enough. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to, need to do to be successful. And not to spoil the ending, obviously you did that, and you were successful. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
I also wanted to add up. I saw there's a mentorship program, and
Mm-hmm.
I need to get it, kind of like this, get into this program and get help with interviews. That's also one of the biggest thing that kind of motivated me to join the program.
Got it. Yep. And we obviously work together a lot. So kind of to hop into that question, maybe this is your answer, but I'll still ask you, what's maybe one or two key takeaways about the program that you enjoyed the most? Like, hey, this hands down, this was the best part of it, or one or two of these things that you liked the most.
Right. So I would say the top is definitely going to be the mentorship program.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, helped me a lot to power through all these weeks, the long weeks, and just able to have that flexibility and also the communication and know what to expect, and kind of the guidance on what to do, and making sure, hey, I'm staying sane.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think we, me being a mentor is, not only, helping you out specifically with, things to prepare for interviews, what to look for, what to practice, but also just to be someone that's supportive. You obviously, it took a little longer than expected. You got a lot of interviews, but you also got a lot of rejections. And I know at times it was tough. It was a struggle. And that sales is, you get rejected a lot. For anyone that's been in sales listening, they know that 9 out of 10 people are going to say no to you, but that one person keeps you going. And, having someone that's just being a cheerleader at the end of the day is going to help motivate you. And I feel like obviously that's something that I was able to help you out a lot, because I know there were times where it was, you were questioning things, and obviously you were able to power through and be successful. So what on the flip side though, was there anything you feel that maybe could have been a little better in our program? Obviously we're constantly adapting, we're constantly changing as the industry change. We want to be the best, so we know we need to constantly improve. So if you can think of anything, Eric, now, do you feel anything in the program could have just been a little better? And it could be anything.
Right now, I don't think I have something on top of my mind. Since with all the process, say the sales, the tools, yeah, and building the workflow, that was pretty new to me. So
Yeah.
on the software side, I'm a little bit easy to adapt to those, but it's
Yeah.
still new to me. And without the help, I wouldn't able to say get the license or able to get a fully peek into like how to use all the functions and what's the workflow and what to expect. And that's really helpful. And
Mm-hmm.
also some of the mentality and sales methodologies, you can go out and search all those on your own, but it's not going to be structured, and there's no system, or you have to work very hard to absorb those and kind of take in with your own kind of a system to
Mm-hmm.
apply those. Yes.
Yep. I agree. So after you went through the program, you learned everything, it came to the job search, and that's where we obviously connected and started working together. You know, I kind of just, in your own words, obviously I know how it went, but I want you to share, what was the job search like for you, in terms of getting interviews, going through interviews, things like how you were feeling, things like that. Just kind of walk everyone through briefly how the job search went for you.
Right. So I'll start with what I'm doing is basically I know there's a number to hit, but like to be honest, it's very hard for me to get into the full limit of 25.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in the beginning, I was in the States, so I still have a full-time job, and I was quitting the job and moving out of the country, and that took probably 2 weeks, maybe a week or so. So I was trying to adapt. Um, I did it a little bit before uh, I moved. That's in the U.S. and I did the most part of it in Taiwan, which is probably 12 to 16 hours difference there. Uh, so most of the time in Taiwan, I'm kind of applying to all those companies in during the weekend, and I'm shooting for one interview per day on the weekday, and that's my Tuesday to Saturday. So I have a little bit of a gap in between to kind of applying all those. And in the beginning, it's very hard for me to uh, customize the message. I think the big part of me is that I'm I think a lot. So I think about, hey, is
Overanalyze.
this, yeah, is this message going to be like well crafted? Is it going to be resonated? Is it going to waste their time, or is it going to, for them, is it pretty much a junk email? And even though there's a template there, uh, I'm always like getting all the information. I go into the CRM. I was trying to see if there's anyone else that's messaged them, and I'm trying to send a different message, and I'm trying to be different. And that even though I was probably applying to a lower number, but I'm getting better results. So I'm kind of battling there. Is it kind of customization or the quantity over quality in that case? But I eventually choose quality.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm somewhat kind of getting a good results from there. So I talk about this with you. So I talk about, hey, what should I do? What should I choose to pursue? Is it my style, or is it going to be less customized, or just in order to hit that number? And you told me I'm getting a good result, so just keep it that first, and to see uh, to kind of adjust in the future if things change. And I stick to that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to shoot for like one per day. I'm doing every day doing it. Uh, because of the time zone, the difference, it's pretty much my early morning or late night. Pretty much like say 5 to 6 in the morning, or 11, 12, 2 in the in the morning.
So you were just for people here, you were basically interviewing you were kind of doing stuff on US time and maybe sleeping during the day. I mean, I know you, like you said, you
Right.
had some interviews where you had one at 1 in the morning your time and then went to sleep for 3 or 4 hours and had one at 6, which
Yeah.
I think is really incredible because that just shows how determined you are. Like, hey, can I push through? Can I persevere? Yeah, because here's what I'm doing right now. So I just wanted to reiterate that for people listening, because it's man, power to you, Eric. Like I think most people would not do that, or they wouldn't have that drive. So, but yeah, so not to cut you off. So how many overall, like how many companies do you think you probably interviewed with? Because I think for you, getting interviews wasn't obviously a problem. It was getting by, to the second and third round and getting the offer. So how many companies would you say you probably interviewed with, over the time it took you to land an offer?
So I was for the number, it's around 50 companies.
50 companies.
Yeah, 50 companies and different rounds. So yeah, with the companies that I interview with, it's 50.
Mm-hmm. 50. And when at the beginning, when I said, let's remember, you applied to 15 jobs and got one interview. How many jobs do you probably think you applied for? 50, probably what?
100
300?
something.
Okay, not even 200. So basically, on the easy side, we'll say 1 out of 4 companies you basically applied for requested an interview with you.
I remember the number is probably over 30%.
Yeah. So, okay, even better.
Probably, yeah, around 30 something
I'll
percent.
just let that sit in for people. 30. You went from 15 to one interview to less than 200 to 50 interviews. That's insane, and that's obviously awesome. So I kind of want to hear a little. I kind of want you to touch on, we already did, but a little more on, going through those interviews. And obviously you struggled a bit going on. Like, what were kind of some of your key
Right.
takeaways from going through the actual interview portion?
Right. Oof. So for me, because my case is a little bit different. So because my background is a little bit interesting, I did a bit of IT, I did a bit of marketing, and I'm having some of the experience a little bit here and there, and also different background than other maybe other applicants. So that's I'm thinking maybe that's my guess that got me into the chance of having an interview.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem for me is going through them. So
Yep.
I'm able to get an interview, but it's hard for me to get through and get a job offer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for me, it's like in the beginning, I get into a lot of good companies. I was asking, hey, like I was kind of a little bit worried that I apply to those good companies in the beginning, and I don't want to like waste my chance interviewing them and not getting through the interviews. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, that actually helped a lot with the preparation. So even though everybody did finish the the coursework. So we're all prepared for questions, but there are definitely other, I would say, other approach to look at the questions that the other companies is expecting you to do. So maybe this company A is wanted you to answer in this way, but company B will want it the other way. So in this process, I'm just kind of like refreshing or like editing my answer and just ask more questions about, hey, is this answer legit or is this answer like good enough? Just trying to like revise a little bit here. And every time I was asked and there's a revision or like I'm trying to make it a little bit better and a little bit targeted. And the whole process is just like refined in a way that I'm able to approach questions and I'm able to deliver better. Initially, I'm just like, it's hard. It's hard for me to, I don't know, deliver. My weakness is delivery. So I think that that's part of overthinking, and I'm with a little bit of personality in this sense.
I think it's I think it's delivery was one thing, and I think you like yourself kind of held you back because I know over analyzing, sometimes that lack of confidence, getting in your own head, things like that, because you're very you're very analytical. Those were things where there's benefits of that type of personality in sales. There's also some I would say, negative, consequences of being sometimes over analytical. And then obviously the combination of over analyzing and sometimes the lack of confidence, I think was a key reasons why it took a little longer. But obviously, you and me working together, we were able to persevere and overcome those things. And I mean, you've come a long way from where you were until where you are now.
Right. Yeah, I can see myself like, I still remember the first few interviews. I was still in the company, and I'm taking all the materials, and I ran into my car. I was taking from in my car, and
I
it's
remember.
freezing cold out there, and I was stuttering with the interview questions because I was scared of pretty much that the first few interviews. Just even though I was prepared with all the materials, I'm not familiar with it, and I don't have confidence, and the delivery is probably off too. But I said to myself, I wanted improve. I wanted to make progress. This is something I have to power through, and I did.
And that's that. I mean, I think that's probably the key reason why you were able to persevere is because you had that mindset of like, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful, whether that's getting up at 2 a.m. for an interview or, asking me for the recordings for all these calls so you could go back and listen. If I know that, in your new company, which I want to talk about in a sec, you're going to be successful because if you take the same approach you did, working with me, Eric, there's no doubt you're not going to be successful at the end of the day. So let's talk a little bit about, your new company, where you landed. I know you're supposed to be, hopefully, the time of this recording, there's the, coronavirus pandemic throughout the world. So hopefully Erik's, hire date doesn't get delayed, but share a little bit about where you're going to be working and the company.
So the company is located between San Jose and Santa Cruz, in Scotts Valley, and they're a B2B payment service, kind of eliminate a payment fee, and also they want no paper with the process.
Got it. And it's what the company's name is Paystand, right?
Yes, the name is Paystand.
Awesome, cool. Well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited to hear about your success. I guess just last question for me, Erik, is obviously, like I kind of said, most people that apply, we don't accept because we really want to make sure that what we're looking for aligns with what a prospective member is looking for. And obviously they match up, we can work with you. But again, most people might not be a good fit. I won't be the first to say that. So for anyone listening, what would you say if someone's on the fence, about doing this? Just anyone that is thinking about a career change or thinking about Prehired, what would you have to say from them, just from your personal experience?
Right. So I was in a bad place, and I wanted to make a progress, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be better. I think there are a lot of people that have this feeling, and they're probably also in a struggle. Like I was struggling to survive basically,
Yeah.
and I would say I'm still trying to uh, make a living, and I'm kind of still struggling a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I want people to think about, like in my case, um, like I don't even have a house in the U.S.
Yeah.
I speak the second language, and I wasn't like uh, every company I talk to, they're mostly asking for, do you have a visa? Are you able to work legally in the
Yeah.
States? And for people like me that can power through, uh, I'm sure like you will be fine if you keep doing this and keep trying to find your niche and take some of the experience that you have, uh, even though if you don't have any experience, there are a lot of materials out there. Just trying to uh, find those and gain more experience, and uh, maybe hone your skills. And in that way, you can impress the hiring manager or the company. And that I know in the community there are people that get into jobs like very fast, like within 1 or 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I was like basically I'm progressing really slow, but I'm still able to make progress with time and do a
Correct.
lot of research, yeah, and trying to power through. And if I can do this, and I believe most of the people can.
I agree. I mean, again, I think you're a perfect example of if you're truly persistent, if you truly want this and you treat this as a top priority, and I'd say, minus sleep and eating, but I know you went sleepless at times. So like pre-hired for you and this career change was a top priority. And if anyone treats it as a top priority and puts in the amount of effort that you put in, Eric, then I believe anyone can be successful. I think if you're not willing to get down and dirty, if you're not willing to go the extra mile, you can struggle. And that's why I know you're going to be successful in sales, because sales is tough. Especially an SDR role, it is a tough job. But if that's your priority and you want to be the best and you're going to do whatever it takes, you're going to get there. And again, Eric, you're a great example of that. So I'm excited to hear about your success. That's about it. Thank you for taking some time this evening to share your story. And obviously, we will definitely be in touch, but definitely keep me updated.
Sure, I'll do.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Eric.
Thanks.